It's 2026 and the e-ink is too slow argument is officially dead. We now have 300 ppi displays, color displays, AI integrated note searching, and refresh rates that actually keep up with a fast moving pen. But with all these new releases, it's easier than ever to buy the wrong device for your workflow. I've spent the past few years daily driving the top contenders, and today I'm breaking down the absolute best e-ink note takers by category so you don't waste your money on hype.
Now, if you're looking at a color e-ink note taker, I think there's 3 categories you can choose from. In the more simplistic category, there's the Remarkable Paper Pro, which is an 11.8-inch Gallery 3 color e-ink note taker. And when I say simplistic, this is just meant more for note taking, and that is specifically its goal. Doesn't have apps, the ebook support isn't great, but if you really want a true yellow highlight, that is one of your best options. And then right in the middle is the new Kindle ColorSoft Scribe. It has an 11-inch Kaleido 3 panel. It is the best Kaleido 3 implementation I've seen, where it removes some of the graininess that you get on other devices, like the Note Air 5C. Basically, this device, if you want to read, it's good because it has the Kindle Store integration, and then it has the basic note-taking capabilities that you'd want. So that's why I say it's somewhere in between. And then we have something like a full-fledged Android tablet, the Note Air 5C here, where it has full access to the Play Store with the color panel, so you can get any apps you want on it, but it is still a good note taker in general. That being said, some people can find it a little overwhelming because there are a lot of features and it's a little more complex. I mean, you could get the Kindle Store on here if you want. There's more of a learning curve than something like the Kindle or the Remarkable. But those are basically the 3 ends of the spectrum on the color e-ink note-taking front. And then for the next category, for the best budget e-ink note-taking device, I think there are 2 options. The Remarkable 2, yes, this is an older device. It's almost 5 years old now. But for your general note-taking basic needs, this is still a great device. It's still incredibly thin. It actually uses Wacom EMR technology for the pen, so you don't get the active stylus wobble like you do on the Paper Pro Move or the Paper Pro. If you want distraction-free typewriting, there's also a Typefolio available that you could probably get on the cheaper side now because it is an older device. And the reason I put it in the budget category is because this device you can find now refurbished. You can get a used one, and they're just generally cheaper. So you can get bundles that include the pen and the folio as well, or you can save on an aftermarket folio. I'll link those below if you want to check those out. Still generally a very good Remarkable device, and is probably the Remarkable I use the most still. I put on a screen protector here. So the nice thing is that because this is an EMR device, you can use other styli. So this is a ceramic tip from Supernote, and I can actually use that on here without the screen scratching. You can pretty much use any Wacom stylus. So you could just get the tablet, buy a cheap aftermarket folio, buy a cheap stylus, and all in, you're not looking at a very expensive price for this device, which will still do pretty much everything that the other Remarkable devices will do, but it doesn't have color and it doesn't have a front light. But the black and white panels do have better contrast. For most note-taking needs, I don't really find that I need the front light. My guess is that this year, Remarkable will launch something around the A5 size that will replace the RM2. With their new Paper Pro lineup, they have a small device, they have a big device now, so it seems like there's something lacking in the middle there. Who knows what size exactly would be, but my guess is around the 10-inch mark. And then the other really good budget device is the Books Go 10.3. It almost looks like a Remarkable 2 clone. It's basically the brother of this Note Air 5C here, but in a black and white counterpart, and there is no front light also. But there are Android apps. So in terms of these 2 budget devices, I'd really evaluate if you are going to use the Android apps. Maybe the Remarkable 2 is a better option for you. But if you do want the Android capability and a little bit more modern specs, then the Books Go 10.3 is a good option. I believe in the bundle, you also get a folio, you get the pen, and you get replacement tips for a very reasonable price.
Also, in the middle of making this video, Books did just announce 2 Go 10.3 Gen 2s. Just to be clear, I'm not recommending that one as it does have an active stylus, and when there's a Wacom alternative, that's something I'd always recommend over that.
For the best small e-ink note taker, I think there's 2 options. So the first, if you just need black and white, I do think the Supernote Nomad is the best you can get in the black and white note-taking space. It has really nice styli with these ceramic tips that you never need to replace because they are made of metal. And there's a special film protector on here where it doesn't scratch the screen, but it has a very pen on paper feel to it. And it's got a 7.8-inch screen, so it's a relatively good size for note-taking on the go. It handles PDFs pretty well, if you want to mark them up, or if you're a student and you're reading documents for class. And while it is a Carta 1000 screen, which is a little bit older, it still holds up to the test of time. And the components are also replaceable with expandable micro SD storage as well. If you want to save a little money on this device, I'd recommend not getting the crystal version. Even though this one's really cool, you could see through it, the basic white one is a little bit cheaper. And this device, you can also use any Wacom EMR device, but I would generally recommend their pens. The ceramic tip pens do generally feel better, but I've seen a lot of people use other pens on this and it works pretty well. There is a wide variety too of styli that you can get for this. For traveling, I really like this one, which has a ceramic tip, but then also has a normal tip where I can write on paper if I need to, which I don't really do that much anymore, but is nice to have. The Remarkable Paper Pro Move I've covered extensively. I do find it's a little bit expensive for the price, but if you need a small color e-ink note taker, it is one of the best options out there because it is a newer device, has relatively good PPI. The downsides being has a shorter battery life, and the scaling from other Remarkable devices can be a little funky on it. If you already have a Remarkable and you're looking for an additional small ink note taker, then I do think it is a good option. But I wouldn't recommend this device as your only ink note taker because of the scaling issues I was talking about, the lack of DRM EPUB support for making it a good e-reader. There's no water ingress protection, and it is generally expensive. Books does have a 7.8-inch device, but that is a little old now. I think it's 2 or 3 years old. So hopefully, maybe this year they'll announce something new that is a smaller note taker. For the best large device, I think there's two options. I mentioned earlier in the color category, the Remarkable Paper Pro is a relatively large device. It's 11.8 inches, so it's not exactly the A4 size, but viewing PDFs is really natural on it. Everything is very readable on them because they're close to full size. Paper Pro is a solid device overall for note taking, or if you're an academic or a student that needs to be looking at large PDFs a lot and marking them up. Then the other device would be the bigger brother to the Note Air 5C, which is the Tab XC. That does have an active stylus and it has a keyboard case. So does the Paper Pro. The Paper Pro is more like a typewriter, but the Tab XC with the whole suite of Android apps you can use for pretty much anything with the keyboard. They both do have active styli, which means they do need to be charged. And sometimes there can be a little bit of wobble like I was mentioning earlier. But those are the two best options for large e-ink note takers. For the best black and white e-ink note taker overall, I'm going to give that to the Manta. And I think it stands alone in this category. It is really good in terms of the organizational features. The pen and paper feel is excellent. The wide variety of styli you can use on it. The overall design, which is relatively thin and pretty lightweight, it's 375 grams, and it has a 10.65-inch screen, so a little bit bigger than your A5, but not quite A4, which is very spacious for note-taking. It has a dedicated drawing app on it, and just like the Nomad, you can access the internals here, so you can upgrade that over time. And this is the latest black and white screen. It's a Carta 1300 screen. That panel came out about a year and a half ago, but it has it here. And so this device will really stand the test of time with the ability to upgrade the components. For the best AI note taker, there's two options. There's the VWoods AI Paper and the iFly Tech Note 2.
They'll have these buttons built in, so the firmware is integrated with more models of AI directly in the hardware here. And likewise right here, which can be helpful when you're planning things, so you're not always having to interface with a computer for that.
This VWoods has a new ceramic tip stylus that they released recently, kind of like the supernote devices I was talking about. I actually went to CS recently and covered all the new e-ink gadgets that are coming out, so you can check that out here if you want. Or if you want to see another e-ink video that YouTube thinks you'll like, you can check that out here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.